What is up, everybody? This is All Things Entertaining here, bringing you the brand new video. And today we have new cards, I guess the remaining cards out of Burst of Destiny. And we have some pretty interesting cards. I've already read through most of these, so I'm just going to give you my opinion on what they are. But let's just jump right into the cards themselves, and we'll just see what they all entail for you. This is Soldier Palm Fengli. It's a level 1 Fire Plant Tuner effect monster with 800 attack and 0 defense, and you can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard by a monster effect, you can special summon this card. Then if you control another planet monster, you can have the attack and defense of one face-up monster on the field. And the second effect is the first time this card will be destroyed by battle or card effects each turn, you can send one plant monster from your deck to the graveyard instead. So this card is definitely pretty cool. Being able to special summon itself as soon as it's milled from the top of your deck or by a monster effect is pretty nice. It works specifically with monster effects, which is a little bit of a downside, but if you're playing like Light Swarms or something like that can rapidly mill cards, this card's going to be pretty bonkers as an extender during your end phase. And the fact that this card can also protect itself once per battle, by just sending or once per battle or card effect, you could mill a plant monster from your deck to the graveyard instead. That's actually not too bad of a card. I'm not sure if this card will actually see very much play, but if it does have a lot of big potential with it being a plant monster and the fact that it is a tuner as well. Next, we have a new Gemini monster. This is Dualized Lord Gold Knight. It's a level 4 Earth Warrior Gemini effect monster with 1500 attack and 500 defense. And now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Gemini mechanic, they're treated as normal monsters while they're face up on the field or in the graveyard. And while this card is a normal monster on your field, you can normal summon it to have its effect, to have it become an effect monster with these effects. Basically, what that means is you got to normal summon it twice in order for you to give some benefit from it. There have been a few Gemini monsters that have seen some play in the past, like Ill Blood and Neos or Elemental Hero Neos Alias. But we'll see if this one actually cuts the mustard for Geminis. And I've already read this card, and it's actually not terrible. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one spell or trap with a Gemini monster in its text from your deck to your hand. You can only use this card's effect once per turn. And then this card becomes a machine monster and also gains 500 attack. So if you normal summon this card twice, you get the ability to not only add a spell or trap with Gemini monster in its text to your hand, it also gains 500 attack and becomes a machine monster. There are some pretty good spell and trap cards that you want to add. Supervise being one of those cards. It's actually a really insane card for Geminis. It's just that the Geminis never really took off in that way. And I think there are a few others that are pretty nice, but Supervise is the only one that I can think of off the top of my head at this current point in time. Next we have Indomitable Beast Servant. It's a level 2 Fire Beast effect monster with 900 attack and 2000 defense, and you can only use the first effect of this card once per turn. During the main phase, if your opponent special summons 3 or more monsters this turn, a quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. This attack position monster cannot be destroyed by battle while you control no monsters. So this card is not too bad. It actually kind of extends into your next plays. It can be destroyed by battle if you summon it in an attack position, and it actually interacts with your opponent, giving you a little bit of defense, because it is actually a pretty beefy card. It's actually kind of annoying to get around if you summon this at the right time. So I can actually see the card being fairly useful. It's a level 2 Fire Beast, which is kind of premium stuff for Tri-Brigade right now, but I'm not actually sure if you're going to actually play this in Tri-Brigade, to be fair. So yeah. Outstanding Dog Mary. It's a level 1 Light Beast effect monster with 100 attack and 100 defense, and only one effect that you can only use once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can activate one of these effects. You can place this card on the bottom of your deck, or you can add one Outstanding Dog Marron from your deck to your hand, and if you do, place this card on the top of the deck. Basically what Outstanding Dog Marron did is this, if it's kind of the same thing. If it was sent to the graveyard, you could just place it on the top of your deck, and then you would just be able to, or no, at the bottom of your deck, or you would shuffle it or something like that, and then you'd just be able to combo off with it or something. It's kind of just a fun gimmick that Konami just reinvents every once in a while. It's a super fun card, but ultimately this card's just not going to be played, but the artwork is super adorable. Look at this thing. It's so funny. But anyway, we have Cupid Pitch. It's a level 4 Life Fairy Synchro Tuner effect monster with 0 attack and 600 defense, and the materials are 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuners. And you can only use this card's third effect once per turn. If this card is synchro summon, increase or decrease its level by the level of the tuner used as material for its synchro summon. Its second effect is gain attack equal to its level times 400. And 3, if this synchro summon card is sent to the graveyard as a synchro material, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the level of the synchro monster that used this card as material times 100. And if you do, you can add one level 8 or lower monster with 600 defense from your deck to your hand. I'm actually not entirely sure how copious how in depth or how deep the pool of 600 defense monsters that are level 8 or lower are, but there's probably quite a lot since it adds pretty much any of them, which is level 8 or lower. I'm pretty sure there's some pretty busted ones that you could probably find with this card, and the fact that it also does burn damage on top of it is not too bad. I wouldn't sneeze at this card too bad. It might not see that much play, but I would definitely have like a couple of copies of this if you really want to like work with this card. It's definitely not a bad card. And we got a second Gemini support card that's not actually Gemini support. It doesn't list Gemini in its text, so you can't search it with the card that we just talked about. But this is Supernatural Danger Zone. It's a continuous spell card that you can only use the first and second effect of this card once per turn. The first effect is if a non-effect monster is special summoned face up, you can target one card your opponent controls to destroy it. The second effect is if this card in your spell and trap card zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one non-effect monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So this definitely does include normal monsters, but it also includes Gemini monsters. More importantly, I'm not sure how you're supposed to combo off with the fact that you could special summon this card and also gain its effect to search. But but in fairness, they haven't really introduced a way that you can do that. I'm actually, Catalyst Field I think makes it to where your Gemini monsters, the field spell for Chemical Critters makes it to where your monsters are just activated effects, so it might just be pretty good in that sense. Knife Flight is actually an interesting card that I kind of want to, I kind of would foresee being a nice side deck card for later, so I would definitely pick this up when we get Bonds of Destiny or whatever. Burst of Destiny, that's what the set is called, sorry. It's a quick play spell card, Knife Flight. You can target one face-up monster you control, return it to the hand, and if you do, neither player can activate cards or the effects of cards with that name for the rest of the turn. It's specifically for monsters, but if this card was for any card on the field, it'd be kind of maybe a little too good. But I think this card could very well see some nice side deck play if it's tier 0 or maybe even like tier 1 formats exist. This card could very well be good in the mirror matches for those decks. For example, if you're like playing against Salamangreats, you just bounce your Sunlight Wolf back to the extra deck, and then they can't activate their Sunlight Wolf during your turn. But then again, you probably wouldn't want to really do that, but that's just an example of what this card is capable of. The next card is Small World. It's a normal spell card which you can only activate once per turn. Reveal one monster in your hand, and reveal one monster in your deck with the same type, attribute, level, attack, or defense, exactly one of these. Banish the first revealed monster face down, then add to your hand one monster from your deck with the same type, attribute, level, attack, or defense, not only exactly one of these, as the second revealed monster. And if you do, banish the second revealed monster face down. So basically what you're doing is you're banishing 2 cards face down in order to search one monster that has the exact same stat line as one of the cards that you're searching, which is actually not terrible, but I'm not sure if you actually play this card very often, because it's such a huge workaround for what it is. You have to reveal a monster in your hand and deck, and then they both have to be the same in some way, and then you get to add a card that is also the same as the one that you revealed from your deck in some way, and then you gotta banish both of them face down. It's kind of just a lot of work just to search one card, but maybe it has some potential. I'm not writing it off completely. The second to last card that we're going to talk about here is Stained Glass of the Valiant. It's a normal trap, but you only have to make the only effect of this card once per turn. And this card is actually pretty crazy. I actually foresee this card being a nice pickup as well. Apply these effects in sequence based on the type of effect monsters you control. So you can't activate both of these effects. Fairy, draw 3 cards, then place 2 cards from your hand on the bottom of the deck in any order. Fiend, your opponent draws 1 card. Fiend, your opponent draws 1 card, then they discard 1 random card. Then if they have any other cards in their hand, discard 1 more card of their choice. So this is kind of an interesting card. Not only will you be able to draw 3 cards and then place the 2 at the bottom of your deck if you're playing a pure fairy type deck. Remember, we did just get a copious amount of agent support, so this card could very well fit in that deck. But if you're playing a bunch of fee monsters, which is a lot of decks nowadays, this card could very well be a delinquent duo in a trap form. This card is actually pretty crazy. So I would definitely have my playset of this if and when this set comes out, because these cards this effect is nothing to scoff at all. And the last card that we have here, Liner Trap, is a continuous trap that you can only activate the second effect of this card's effect once per turn. The first effect is if a monster is normal or special summon to your field, you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. The second effect is if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you could target 1 card in your graveyard that was sent there this turn, except Laundry Trap, add it to your hand, but you cannot activate cards or the effects of cards with that name until the end of your next turn. So this card does have a lot of mill potential, but I don't think it'll actually see that much play, as it is pretty mediocre at best. It's just not that great. But overall, I think it's a very decent card for sure. But yeah, tell me what you guys think about these sets of cards. I'm actually really excited for the Stained Glass of the Valiant, and the Supernatural Danger Zone is a pretty cool card. Night Flight is amazing. I think it's pretty good. This fairy tune monster is pretty nice, and most of these cards are pretty good. Outstanding Dog Mary is a meme, so I like those cards too. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about these cards in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next video. This has been All Things Entertaining, signing out.